Right. So, morning, everyone. My name is Matthew from Fred Olsen. I'm just going to share my screen and get the PowerPoint presentation up for you. There we go. So hopefully you can all see that. So this is a very brief introduction to Fred Olsen Cruise Lines, and I'm going to just start off by just showing you a bit of a glimpse of the new brochure. So hopefully you can all see the screen. Let me know if you can't. Hopefully you can see all that all right. So this is the new brochure, the new worldwide 2022 to 2020 brochure. And it's a fantastic looking brochure, and it sort of almost comes with a bit of a rebrand for Fred Olsen because it's, as you all know, it's been a challenging 18 months, and over the past 18 months, we've seen quite a bit of a change within our fleet. We've lost 2 ships, introduced 2 brand new ships in Valletta and Borealis, and this is almost like the sunrise to the sort of the new dawn, really, with the sort of the new start. So to celebrate the release of our new brochure and the sailing of our new ships, if guests currently book a cruise of 19 nights or fewer, departing from a UK port, we're offering onboard spend of up to £100 per person and free gratuities as well. That's applicable on 22-23 sailings from the UK, 19 nights. Couple of exclusions apply. But in the new brochure, we actually introduce our guests for the very first time to something which we're calling the Olsen Way. And I just want to read this sort of statement. This is at the very front of the new brochure. And it says, in recent years, we've seen a new era emerging in cruising. There's a trend for everything to get bigger and busier, and for a cruise to be seen as an alternative to a large luxury resort with a limitless flurry of activity. But this is not for us. We believe there's another way to cruise, a way that's based on 5 generations of seafaring, where cabins are called cabins and ships look like ships, where the journey is as important as the destination. In our world, smaller is better, and we believe in keeping the experience on board uncrowded, warm and civilised, treating passengers as guests like the family-run business that we are. It would be easy to follow the trends and go with the crowds, but we never will, because this is our way. This is the Olsen Way. And the Olsen Way is something which we've just started to advertise to consumers, and it's really to give them a greater understanding of exactly where we sit in the cruise market, because it can be quite challenging when people see a lot of the cruise ships, and some of them are absolutely ginormous. And I think we're really trying to sort of come up with 10 different principles of what makes us that little bit different, and they're all called the Olsen Way. So 10 different elements of which we're going to introduce to people, just to enable them to get a greater understanding about what we're all about. And this will help yourselves as well. You know, if someone comes to you and sort of says, well, what are Fred Olsen all about? It's these 10 principles. Now, I've not got time to go through all 10, so I've selected a few of the principles just to give a bit of an idea of what we're talking about with the Olsen Way. And the first one is smaller is better, because the 4 ships that we have in the fleet are all under 1,500 guests. Our biggest ship is around about 1,400 guests, and that's the 2 new ones. So the ships are smaller for several reasons. The itineraries that we can put together with the smaller ships are quite unique. We can fit into places that big ships can't. We can scenic cruise where big ships can't. But also the onboard atmosphere as well is that little bit different on a smaller ship. And a smaller ships enables our guests to meet each other, meet the crew. And it makes a really warm, nice atmosphere on board. And that's what you kind of get with a smaller ship. And that's not to say that the smaller ships haven't got the facilities like some of the big ships have got. It's still got your bars, your restaurants, your specialty dining, your spa treatments, your gyms, all the same facilities, but just on a smaller scale. So that's one of the key ones, the fact that we operate smaller ships. And this is a great picture. This is Braemar transiting the Corinth Canal. So once again, you can't do that on a big ship, and it's trying to give our guests experiences that they can't get with other cruise lines. The other principle that I wanted to talk about, and there's 4 that I'm going to introduce to you today, is handcrafted, not mass-produced. And the itineraries, when we put the itineraries together, we basically start from scratch every single year. So Martin and Chloe work in our head office. They start with a blank piece of paper. They start putting the itineraries together. Fred Olsen Jr., because we're family run, so Fred Olsen Jr. has got an involvement in signing off the itineraries. And we really pay attention to where we're going, at what times of year we're going, special events, things like that. And you'll see that our itineraries, generally we operate from UK ports, but we have a bit of fly cruise as well. They don't tend to repeat cruise after cruise. So if we go to the Baltic, we may come back, we then may go to the Med, we may come back, we may go to the Canary Islands. It keeps it varied. What you'll also see as well is on board the ships, it's very much handcrafted. There's a lot of places on the ship, like this picture here, where you'll see sort of the murals are hand painted. There really is an attention to detail on board as well. And I think over this time, over the past 18 months, when we've been keeping the ships in dry dock, the staff who've been upgrading the ships and refurbishing the new ships, a lot of them staff continue to work with us now. A lot of our carpenters, our cabin maids, they're on board now doing their normal job, but they have been helping us doing the refurbishment. So there's quite a lot of pride in the work as well. So what else have we got? One of the else is we believe in the joy of the journey. And this is really important. As I mentioned just a minute ago, it's about the scenic cruising. So a lot of cruise lines will take the fastest route from A to B. And that's just the quickest way. How can we get to point B as quick as we possibly can to get our guests off, disembark, and get them to go and see the sights and what have you? Our route is a little bit different. We take the scenic route. We show people things that they might not be able to see on other cruise ships. So if it's someone like Norway, we take them down the smaller fjords. If it's something like down on the French coast, we can sail down the Seine down to Rouen. We can sail down the Guadalquivir River right to the city centre of Seville. We do things that some of the big ships can't do. But it is as much of the joy of the journey. It's taking people on the vessel and getting them to see things from the sea. So we definitely believe in the joy of the journey. And the last one I wanted to highlight to you today is this one, which is it's all about the people, all of it, everything. And we're a family-run business, and a lot of people at our head office in Ipswich are very passionate about what they do, and as so the staff on board as well. We're very pleased to say that over that period of not being able to operate, we've managed to get around about 90% of the same staff back again, which I think is great testament for them wanting to come back as well. And there's a great quote here that Fred Olsen says, and he says, "You can have all the equipment in the world, but in the end, it all comes down to the people." And I think that's really true. I think when you're on holiday, it's the people that make the real difference. It's the service in the bars and in the restaurants, and it's the smiling faces, and it's them that chit chat you can have with your cabin maid and what have you. And that's what you can get on a smaller ship. So it really is all about the people. So that's just 4 of the elements, which is part of our Olsen Way. And like I say, you can see the staff there in the bars and restaurants chatting to our guests. They're very, very passionate about what they do. We've just done a quick VoxPox video, and it's strange that some of the guests on there sort of said, we've come back after all this time and we're still seeing the same members of staff, which I think is great. So that's some of the stuff. And these are the 2 new ships. And the 2 new ships have been designed in the Olsen Way. The 2 new ships are Boletta and Borealis. So Borealis set sail for us first. She's generally home ported from Liverpool, and Boletta just started in August. She generally this month is sailing from Dover over the next few months, and then we'll change around to Southampton. So the 2 new ships, around about 1,400 guests, great new facilities on board. You can just see with the picture there, you've got the swimming pool with a retractable roof, so it can be used in all weathers. You've got great theatres, great show lounges. You've got a special auditorium to give cooking demonstrations. But what I would say about these 2 new ships is they are very spacious. They're both about 62,000 tonnes, carrying around about 1,400 guests, and guests will notice that when they get on board. They are very, very spacious ships. And I think that's great, considering the fact that I think a lot of people now want space on board a cruise ship. So them are the 2 new ships. So just the last few slides now, as we're coming towards the end of our few minutes with you. So some of the things you might like to know. So as I said at the beginning, we do depart from a lot of our regional departure ports. So we depart from Rosyth, Newcastle, Belfast, Liverpool, Tilbury, Dover, Portsmouth and Southampton. So in 2022, 2023, that's where we will depart from. We have got a little bit of fly cruise out in the Caribbean from Barbados and Havana as well. We do turn around in Havana, Cuba. So that's nice. So that generally throughout the summer months, from spring through summer all the way into the autumn, we're ex-UK, operating sort of 5-night cruises up to, 100 nights, if you think about our world cruises that depart. And then the last one, I just wanted to mention the plain sailing guarantee, because we know there's still a lot of nervousness about people booking, and people are still a little bit worried. And we wanted to just highlight one of the elements with our plain sailing guarantee, and that's the no risk deposit. No risk deposit. Guests can basically change their mind prior to the final balance or interim balance on their due date. So if they're not prepared to travel or they're still nervous, they can just tap that deposit and change it to an alternative cruise within 12 months of their original sailing date. So there's no transfer fees. And it's like I said, just to give that additional reassurance. What we're noticing is that people, if they are sailing with us now, who were sort of nervous about the mask wearing on board and things like that, being double jabbed, a lot of people are going on board and saying, you know what, I was nervous beforehand, but I've come on board. The mask wearing is really simple. You only wear it from your cabin to your restaurant, and you take it off. You get to your bar lounge, take it off, so it makes it nice and easy. But if there's still that nervousness, check it out online on our travel agent centre. It's the plain sailing guarantee. Last but not least, just to let you know, just in the past week, we have just reduced some of our fares for 2021. So we've got now cruises from around about 11 nights from just $599 per person. There's probably never been a better time to cruise. And these cruises are going now, September, October, November, departing from Liverpool, Dover and Southampton. There are some amazing prices, 13-night cruises from prices like £649. So if you have got people who are now looking to travel, maybe because the kids have gone back and they've now got that spare time and they're looking to get away, we have got availability over the next few months. That's it from me. I'll thank you very much for joining us this morning. Hopefully that's been a bit of an insight into what we offer at Fred Olsen Cruise Lines. Like I said, we as a brand have changed quite a bit over the past 18 months with the introduction of the 2 new ships. And it's sort of a very exciting future ahead. So that's it. I will stop sharing my screen. And if anyone's got any questions, there we go. Like I said, normally our trainings are at 45 minutes, so please contact us in our travel agent centre if you do need anything.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Matthew. The Winter Sun itineraries that you mentioned, can you tell us a bit more about the actual itineraries and destinations that you're featuring for Winter Sun then over the next few months?
Yeah, sorry, Pippa, I missed the beginning of that question. Just the sound didn't quite kick in.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Winter Sun product you were talking about, departing in September, October, November. What sort of destinations and itineraries are we talking about there?
You've generally got Spain and Portugal. You've got Canary Islands. You've got a mixture of places like Morocco, which we've got on cruises as well. They're generally all southbound. We'll class it as Winter Sun, so anything going south to the sun. We had a cruise which is just shut off, which was going to Scandinavia. It was the only one going to Scandinavia, going to Swedish waterways, which departs on the 11th of September. It was available until Monday, and because of the new restrictions, we have to cut our cruises off now 7 days before departure. But we've generally got itineraries 10, 11 nights, 14 nights, all going southbound, south to the sun.
Getting warmer.
Yeah.
Chrissy asks, is there one to the Canaries? I think you mentioned Canaries there, didn't you?
100%. We've got a few to the Canaries, to be honest with you. There's probably about 3 or 4 going down to the Canaries, generally about 13, 14 nights. And we've got good availability. There's some really good prices if people are looking to get away over the next few months. Generally, like I said, Liverpool, Dover and Southampton are them 3 key departure ports that we have. The Southampton departures are generally in November, because in October we're still in Dover before we reposition back down to Southampton.
Okay. And sorry, remind us, how far in advance are you taking bookings in general? How many years ahead?
So we're up to, at the minute, we're up to about midway through 2023. We do have the 2024 World Cruise on board on sale, and we have the 2024 South America Cruise on sale as well. But generally, for sort of your Norway, Fjord, your Baltics, your general sort of 7-14 night itineraries, we're up to about spring 2023. By the time we get to March of 2022, we'll then release another brochure, which will then be the rest of 23 and into 2024. Seems to be planning more and more in advance over the year.
And have you got trade partners who are taking bookings for so far in advance already?
You know, it's amazing, really. I mean, some of the bucket list cruises, the things like the World Cruises, the South America Cruises, the Around the World Cruise in 80 Days, which we launched last year, has sold phenomenally well. I mean, we've got around about 900 to 1,000 guests on that. It's nearly full. 2024 World Cruise, again, is selling really, really well. So I think people, because of lockdown, have had a look at themselves and thought, you know what, if I'm going to do these sort of cruises, I want to get it done and I want to get it booked. So we have seen them, Northern Lights cruises, World Cruises, further afield cruises booking up away in advance.
Yeah. That's good news. Okay, wonderful.
News.
Thanks so much, Matthew.
No worries. Thanks for that.
We've now got a 10-minute break. I'll ask everybody to be back online at 11:25 for Colin Curry from Gold Medal, who'd be most upset if you don't come back. So please do come back at 11:25 for Gold Medal in Training Room 7. But go and have a little break, or if you'd like to stay online and have a chat with Matthew, then do use the chat function. I'm sure he can stick around for a few extra minutes if you've got any questions for him. But thanks very much, Matthew, and agent guests. I'll see you again in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, Pippa.